Howdy, I'm Cherry Perdon, and I'll be doing my case report on Tony Stark and exploring the character from Iron Man through the lens of psychology. So, Tony Stark is also known as Iron Man, is a wealthy and brilliant CEO of Stark Industries, which is a major weapons manufacturer. He's known for his intelligence, arrogance, and indulgent lifestyle, and he's often surrounded by luxury, fame, and attention. The film is set in a post 9/11 world, and it is shaped by global conflict, American exceptionalism, and glorification of military power. It is a society that celebrates technological dominance and individual achievement. It is the environment that in which Tony Stark's narcissistic traits like confidence and dominance and flair kind of come out. So for the diagnosis, um it will be narcissistic personality disorder or NPD. This disorder is marked by grandiosity, and a constant need for admiration and lack of empathy. So people with NPD tend to see themselves as superior, fantasize about power, success, and often exploit relationships for personal gain. Tony lives in a society that rewards self-promotion and charisma, and in this context, his behaviors may be celebrated instead of pathologized. If Tony saw a therapist in this setting, he would most likely be diagnosed with NPD. But the only thing that might stop that is his high status, which may cause a clinician to initially misread his charm as confidence. Across cultures, however, these traits are seen differently. In collectivist cultures that value humility and group harmony, narcissistic behaviors might be more easily diagnosed and less socially tolerated. But in contrast, the United States has an individualistic society, and it makes it harder to focus on NPD because self-focus is often more encouraged than community focus. And in Western cultures, NPD is heavily stigmatized. This is because people with the disorder are often portrayed as manipulative or as villains, which can discourage treatment and lead to misunderstandings of emotional vulnerability behind the disorder and on the inner level. So, symptoms of NPD that Tony Stark expresses. The first symptom is his grandiose sense of self-importance. He often refers to himself as genius billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, and expects admiration from everyone around him regardless of the situation. Second, he displays a strong need for admiration. He thrives on attention and often puts himself in spotlight, like when he announces to the world that he is Iron Man at the very end of the film. And um, the symptom that he lacks is the lack of empathy. So while he can be self-centered and looking for admiration, he still does show genuine concern for people like Pepper Potts and just the population of Earth in general. His actions as a superhero, risking his life and putting it on the front line to protect others, is another type of evidence that proves that he has empathy. So, treatment. The best approach for treating Tony would be long-term psychotherapy, especially transference-focused therapy. This form of therapy helps individuals with NPD better understand their inner emotional world and improve how they relate to others. Since Tony struggles with vulnerability and relies heavily on admiration, this type of therapy could help him build deeper self-awareness and reduce conflicts in relationships. And for ethical concerns, the reason we want to focus on transference therapy is because if Tony is idealized or he has a good social reputation, he might devalue the therapist or start and or the therapy might not go good due to outside pressure and not personal motivation. And this raises the question about his true consent and willingness to engage in change. So social and cultural barriers also play a role. Tony's fame, wealth, and cultural glorification of confidence may make him feel like seeking therapy is a sign of weakness. And for a powerful man, especially in a Western society, vulnerability is not so very appreciated. So this would make it hard for Tony to admit that he needs therapy. The broader perspective. In the film, Tony's narcissism is portrayed in a mostly positive light because he's a superhero and his arrogance is packed with wit and charm, making it appealing to the audience. While the film captures the external traits of NPD, it does not show the emotional instability or fragile self-esteem that often underlies the disorder on the inner level. More broadly, films like Iron Man and honestly any Marvel or action films blur the line between confidence and narcissism, and when media glamorizes these traits, it can lead to misunderstandings about the disorder and make people less empathetic towards people that actually do suffer from it. That increases stigma and reduces the chances of people with NPD being recognized and supported because through movies, they don't really portray the inner struggle that people with personality disorders may have. And these are my references in APA style and hanging indents. Thank you for listening.